Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So for what feels like the third week in a row, I'm starting off the video once again by saying it has been an absolutely insane week for Bitcoin. The market absolutely rallied on Monday morning, moving into the weekly close, shooting the price well above $90,000 and back within the weekly range. We've seen a massive correction for Bitcoin. We've gone back down to retest that sort of 80k region. So we're going to dive into the video today to talk about all the recent price action from Bitcoin and what it really means. Was this recent bounce actually consequential in the long term? Before we dive in, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday and Saturday, and join my free Telegram for more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details by messaging me on Telegram. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so jumping into the charts, let's talk about the absolute insanity that has been the last couple of days of price action. By the way, a really quick note, there is a literal cyclone outside my window right now, and I don't think it should be that bad, but if you hear some wind, that's the cyclone. And if I just randomly drop out for my Saturday video, or I'm away from Telegram or something like that, it's just because there must have been a power outage or the Wi-Fi broke down or something happened. As of right now, it should be business as per usual, and I'll keep you guys updated on Telegram, but just a really quick heads up in case I just suddenly disappear. Not that, it should really be that important. It's only one video. It's only a couple of days. Anyways, diving into the price action, let's talk about all of this. So if you've been away from the recent price action, essentially to understand why this week and this weekly candle close was so insane, we kind of need to understand what was going on prior to that close. So Bitcoin, moving into the last 2 weeks of price action, was looking really, really bearish. We had dropped all the way down to $78,000 and completely and entirely entered this really bearish volume gap here on the weekly time frame. We were seeing red flags pop up all over the place on the daily time frame, 3-day time frame, and of course here on the weekly chart, as we were losing our weekly range, that Bitcoin was seeing some sort of top out situation. We're entering potentially what could be a very high time frame bearish sort of price action develop. However, in my last video, we talked about these little signs that were popping up that Bitcoin was seeing a potential local bottom. And following that, Trump announced a really, really massive piece of news about his crypto reserves, which were set to contain Cardano, so ADA, Solana, Sol, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP. So those 5 coins absolutely rallied on Monday into the weekly candle close, and thus we have this crazy close candle over here where we actually managed to close within this high time frame range. Now, immediately following that rally, we had a sort of like sell the news event, right? And we can see immediately following that, Bitcoin went back to crash down and went as low as 81,000 yesterday. So that sort of begs the question, after that rally, sure, the weekly close itself ended up being all right. We didn't close below the range. We just had a massive, what looks like now on this chart, a massive liquidation event. Does that mean that we've sort of prevented or the warning signs for the bear market, and has it had any higher time frame consequences? So let's dive into the video today to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about the total, the daily chart on Bitcoin, the weekly chart, and then dive into the short time frames as well. So if we talk about high time frame consequence, a chart that is particularly important is here on total, the weekly time frame. So prior to the rally that we had on Monday morning or Sunday night when Trump announced the crypto reserves situation, total was about to close under a really crucial level, the prior high on the weekly chart being $2.8 trillion. If we saw a close on the weekly time frame below that level, it would have signaled a top for total on the entire cryptocurrency market, and that we were very likely to continue on in a bearish trajectory, particularly if we continue to close below the 50 EMA here as well, right? Now, we can see here that from that rally on Monday and the weekly close, we not only closed above 2.8 trillion, the weekly high, but also well above the wick high or the range high for that level of support, right? But very similar to Bitcoin, immediately after, we've seen a crash, and we are currently retesting that $2.8 trillion level once again. So essentially what this shows us is that while that rally was massive and insane, the weekly close was all right, it was a band-aid for the sort of, bearish case scenario or the bearish sequential price action that we will continue to see if the market doesn't make a genuine high time frame recovery, right? We are still in that sort of bearish case scenario as projected by Total on this chart. So moving over to a daily time frame here on Bitcoin chart, let's talk about what would actually mark out that high time frame reversal. So we know already that recent rally they've had was a sort of band-aid situation for our, currently what looks to be a continued bearish descent, right? That's what we saw on the weekly time frame on both Bitcoin and Total. Now, if we take a look at a daily time frame though, we can see a couple sort of promising signs. So the rally was here. We crashed after retesting the 50 EMA on the daily chart. And we have continued to form our fourth lower high here on our sort of daily time frame. And this is actually marking out our yearly downtrend. Ever since the start of the year, we have been traveling in this pattern of forming these lower highs. Now, that crash after this third or fourth lower high went on to retest the 200 EMA on the daily time frame, which was a crucial level of moving support talked about in the last 3 of my videos, right? We were really, really worried about losing the 200 EMA because generally, historically speaking, losing that without any other structural support marks the start of a very high time frame bearish descent for Bitcoin. Now, this recent rally has actually pushed us back above pushed us back above the 200 EMA, and over the last 3-day period, we have actually been holding that as a base of support. Now, that is a promising sign. It shows us that right now, while the bears don't have necessarily control of the price action here on the daily chart, neither do the buyers, neither do the bulls, right? We were unable to push out of this pattern of forming our lower highs on the price action. And so thus, now on a daily time frame, Bitcoin's actually in quite a neutral sort of position. We're trying to figure out, whether or not we have the strength to either flip the narrative and actually push these charts back to being bullish, or whether or not this momentum here is going to exhaust, leading to another further correction, a loss of the 200 EMA, and therefore a continued bearish descent as previously planned before this rally on Monday morning. Now, if we pull up the RSI as well, we can see one of the leading indicators for that bullish shift, and that would be a break above 51.35 on the oscillator. We can see we printed equal highs here on the RSI, and that sort of rejection there from that prior high is also what signaled the momentum exhaust here as well, right, as we rejected from the 50 EMA on the price action. So in the future, if we end up seeing a push above 51.35, that means we're seeing high momentum that we have in both of these lower highs, printing, and that should also be a leading indication that we should see a higher high print on the price action as well. And if we do see that, that is then confirmation of the bullish shift on both the RSI and the price action, and that we should see a bullish continuation to retest these next levels. Of course, next being the prior high at 96.8, next after that 104.4, and then of course the range high at $109.5 thousand, all of which have their corresponding RSI levels of resistance at 58.3 and 64.53. So with all that in mind, let's dive into the smaller time frames and talk about the more immediate triggers that we have for those higher time frame bullish or bearish consequences. So over here on an hourly chart, we can see Bitcoin is, in similarity to the daily time frame, sort of chopping between this sort of neutral territory. We have our most crucial level of short time frame support here at 86.5 thousand, and we can see that acting as a prior level of resistance and change of character level over here, right? And in reclaiming this level at 86.5 just this morning, we're looking for a push above our resistance to trigger an immediate bullish move on the short time frame, and that should take Bitcoin back up to retest the levels of resistance, coinciding with that prior high at around $93,000 or $94,000, right? We can see that resistance marked out on the liquidity swings indicator. Now, conversely, if we see 86.5k support lost, that is the immediate trigger for the short time frame bearish case scenario as well, where we're likely to see Bitcoin continue to tumble back down to that $83,000 region, and beyond that level of support here, sell side liquidity being 82,000. It's very likely then that Bitcoin goes back down to retest that prior low on the daily time frame at $78,000. right? And that is what we don't want to see, because at that point we would have also lost the 200 EMA on the daily time frame if we continue to see that bearish descent into the next daily candle close. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on the analysis today. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you guys liked the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And join my free Telegram channel for more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, don't forget to contact me on Telegram for more details. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!